Okay, imagine for a second that the ultimate surveillance device isn't some microchip in your phone or a CCTV camera on your street corner. Imagine instead that the ultimate tracking beacon is actually built right into your chest. And the crazy part? There's literally no way to switch it off. Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're unpacking a really dense, honestly mind-blowing set of leaked documents, patents, and scientific papers. I mean, it reads straight like a techno-thriller, but it points to a very real, documented capability. We're looking at how highly classified tech has turned human biology, specifically the beating of your own heart, into an unjammable tracking beacon. To really grasp the scale of this, our sources drop us right into the middle of the action with this pretty chilling military leak. So picture this. During a highly classified search for a downed pilot who was concealed deep inside an Iranian cave network, a military spokesperson made what seemed like an arrogant slip of the tongue. They literally said, if he has a heartbeat, we can find him. Now, the documents we're analyzing today argued this wasn't just bravado, It wasn't a metaphor. It was a direct reference to a fully operational system. Right, let's dive into this. The files refer to this capability under a colloquial black project name, Project Murmur. It's a subterranean biometric tracking system, and it's designed to completely bypass traditional visual optics. The modern surveillance state doesn't need to see your face anymore, or even detect your body heat. According to these leaks, they are literally listening to the electromagnetic hum of your life force. Section 1. The Biological Beacon. So, to understand how this actually works, the documents urge us to rethink the human heart. It's not just a mechanical pump. We need to look at it through the science of magnetocardiography, or MCG. Basically, every single time your heart beats, the electrical firing or depolarization of your heart muscle creates this cascading electrical current. And basic physics tells us that any electrical current generates a corresponding magnetic field. Now, this field is incredibly faint. We're talking femtoteslas, which is roughly 1 billion times weaker than the Earth's own magnetic field, but it is there. And the kicker? The specific waveform of this magnetic pulse is completely unique to you. It's basically an unmaskable biological fingerprint. And get this, it operates on a very specific frequency. This ultra-low frequency band of 1 to 2.5 hertz represents your heart's continuous broadcast. That lines up perfectly with a resting heart rate of about 60 to 150 beats per minute. So that rhythm, it's constantly broadcasting your unique signature out into the space around you, 24/7. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why the military made the leap to this tech. Look, traditional high-tech tracking relies on infrared heat signatures, right? But infrared is so easily blocked. A roof or just a few feet of dirt, and you're invisible. Magnetic fields, though, totally different ballgame. They pass seamlessly through solid rock, reinforced concrete, earth, deep water, you name it, with almost zero loss of signal strength. So to a magnetic sensor, a subterranean bunker or some deep mountain cave is effectively completely transparent. It's like looking through glass. Section 2. The eyes in the sky. Now, detecting a signal that is 1 billion times weaker than the Earth's background static from way up in the stratosphere, that requires some staggering hardware. Originally, scientists used squids, superconducting quantum interference devices. They were incredibly sensitive, absolutely, but they had one massive flaw. They required heavy, super volatile liquid helium for cryogenic cooling just to maintain that superconductivity. And, well, you simply can't strap a giant freezing tank of liquid helium onto a high-altitude surveillance drone for a long flight. It just doesn't work. The deep state needed a massive revolution in miniaturization. Enter the DARPA-funded solution, SERF atomic magnetometers. SERF stands for Spin Exchange Relaxation Free. It's a mouthful, I know, but instead of using liquid helium, these solid-state sensors use finely tuned lasers. They read the quantum spin state of alkali metal atoms like potassium or rubidium that are trapped inside this tiny, heated glass cell. They achieve that insane sub-femtotesla sensitivity needed to read a heartbeat, but they do it at room temperature in a super compact package. It's a total game changer. Now, I know what you're thinking, but the documents stress that this is absolutely not science fiction. It is fully documented right there in the public patent record. We can actually trace the exact paper trail. Back in 2006, Princeton researcher Michael Romalis patented the breakthrough SERF physics. Then, by 2010, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, patented the miniaturization. They literally shrank this quantum sensor down to the size of a microchip. And then, in 2013, NIST patented a 3D vector upgrade. This allowed the sensors to not just detect a heartbeat, but to actively triangulate its precise direction and movement. They built the eye, they shrank it, and then they gave it 3D tracking. Let's move to Section 3, AI Target Discrimination. So, if the hardware is only half the battle, how exactly does a drone find one single pilot hiding in an entire mountain range? Well, the real genius of Project Murmur is in the software networks. Allegedly pioneered by big data defense contractors like Palantir, it all builds into this crazy tactical sequence. First up, the drone performs a quantum sweep, pulling in massive amounts of magnetic data. Second, it runs environmental noise cancellation. Basically, AI algorithms mathematically subtract the massive background static of the Earth itself, solar wind, local rocks, the whole shebang. Step 3 is biological discrimination. And finally, Step 4, target lock. Now, the absolutely crucial point here is Step 3, biological discrimination. How does the drone actually know it's tracking our downed human pilot and not, say, a mountain goat or a bear sleeping in that exact same cave? Well, the AI is trained on these massive databases of geometric waveforms. Think about it. A bear has a completely different physical heart mass, a different chamber volume, and a different resting heart rate compared to a human. Because of that, its electromagnetic waveform is geometrically distinct. The AI just instantly filters out all the local wildlife and locks right onto the specific base 10 biological signature of human cardiac depolarization. It literally finds the human needle in a mountain-sized magnetic haystack. Which brings us to Section 4, Remote Biometric Diagnostics. And honestly, here is where the source material takes a genuinely terrifying turn. Just finding the target is only the beginning. Project Murmur actually has the capability to perform a real-time remote medical and psychological autopsy on a living person. Because those SERF magnetometers are so unbelievably sensitive, the AI can measure the microsecond variations between beats. That's known as heart rate variability, or HRV. So if our downed pilot is wounded and losing blood, the system detects elevated tachycardia and a drop in magnetic amplitude, instantly diagnosing physical trauma. Furthermore, the sources cite HeartMath Institute studies showing that extreme fear causes your heart's magnetic field to actually become jagged and decoherent. The system reads that decoherence. So it doesn't just know where you are, it knows exactly how terrified or injured you are. But wait, it goes way beyond the heart. The human body is basically a symphony of electromagnetic fields. These sensors can perform remote magnetoencephalography, or MEG, which means reading the tiny magnetic waves of your brain. The AI can detect premotor potential. That is the literal command your brain sends out milliseconds before you even make a physical movement, like, say, raiding a weapon. Simultaneously, it uses magnetomyography, MMG, to read the magnetic fields of your muscle contractions. Because everyone's muscle mass is uniquely distributed, it can perform unique gait analysis, meaning it identifies exactly who you are just by the way you walk, even if you're in total pitch-black darkness. The level of precision here is just staggering. The system can even read your stomach. Your gut actually has its own electrical pacemaker that controls digestion, and it operates on this super slow magnetic wave of about 0.05 hertz. Now, under states of extreme, prolonged starvation or intense stress, this pacemaker becomes erratic or it just shuts down entirely. Let that sink in. The system can literally read the slow magnetic wave of a human stomach shutting down from miles above the Earth, assessing exactly how physically deprived a target is. Which leaves us with a truly inescapable reality to ponder. We've explored the patents, the biology, and the AI filtering that make Project Murmur this tool of total biological surveillance. The sources present this grid where the solid rock overhead provides absolutely no shelter, and your own life force is broadcasting your coordinates, your injuries, and even your fears directly up to the sky. It really forces us to ask a deeply provocative question. In a world where your very beating heart is the tracking beacon, how do you hide? Well, that's all we have for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next one.